In one liner, if I'll say, I would say that we need to teach this geography or history or civic. We actually want our children to understand about the world in which they are living, and how we are able to understand ourselves and the others. If I'll talk about the NEP 2020, I would say that it also proposes that we must teach our children the meaning of the diversity. What is the meaning of diversity? Should we respect the diversity? Should we talk about our local things? Should we promote our local, make it local a vocal in the mind of our children? Yes, these all are the purposes of teaching SST. If I talk about, say, the secondary level, I would say that at secondary level, the social sciences comprises of all the elements of the history, geography, political science, that's a civics, and also the economics. I would say that the sociology is also somehow connected portion of SST only. When we are or where we are talking about the social, being understanding other people. When we are doing certain kind of case studies, or when we are trying to understand the different kind of the events, and what basically is that in through the social study we actually are helping our children understand the various kind of issues. Of course, you can use your chat box and write down what are as per you, what are the important topics which we need to take up in our classroom. Yes, anybody would like to talk? Uh, okay. Yes, very right. Caste system, good, very well. Anybody else would like to talk about? We talk about the poverty. We talk about the literacy. We yes, overall view of nationalism. Yes, nationalism is a very, very, very big term. Yes, population, right? Intercaste marriages, right? Of course. So I'm happy that you all are giving the right answer. Of course, we need to emphasize the issues like poverty, literacy, yes, dowry system, you're right, child bounded labors, and caste, gender, and also the environment. I'm sitting in Delhi, and I don't know how many of you are from Delhi or out of Delhi, but you might be reading the air quality in Delhi. So yes, very well. Thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, child marriage, industrialization, and prejudice. Very nice. Thank you so much. So to make our children understand that what is the situation of this air quality and how we can control it, these all are the part of a SST. So we cannot say that the SST is just when we are reading about a period or when we are watching the period movies, but of course this is something a bigger thing where we are including many things. Economic system, how this COVID has affected our life or the economic system of our life. This is also a part of our SST today. So I think the point is clear that SST, in SST we need to emphasize on all these things. Economics may together help in developing a proper perspective related to the issues which are concerning our environment, our resources, our developing the natural resources, or how much natural resources should be developed, and Also the development of different sector on a different levels, from local, giving a voice to the local to global. Because if we are giving the voice to the local things, we cannot ignore the globalization. Today when we are giving the booster injections for controlling the COVID, actually somewhere we are doing it because we are globalized and we are understanding the situation of the world. Usually we can say that the history is also a part, and when we are talking about history, we are talking up to our children about why and what happened so that the today's situation has arisen. The child is introduced to be in a formation and functioning of the governments. This also is somewhere taught through the history and geography. The parts of the government, what is the local system, how the panchayat is there, what is the MCD, how after MCD, how the local or or local ministers are chosen, then how the ministers have been we can choose for India to rule. So all everything, local, state, and then central level, this whole democratic process of participation of people in the life of other people is what our SST teach. The if I talk about the objectives of the teaching of social science, my screen. Slides. I just share my slide screen. Meanwhile, I was just talking to you about the objective of teaching of social science at secondary levels are to develop among the learners the analytical and conceptual skills. Please mind it, we all are actually, which is comprises of everything, the human geography to linguistic to criminology to cultural studies to anthropology or psychology or criminology or developmental studies, law, communication, everything, even the psychology is somewhere the part of this big social science. So I was just talking about that uh, when we are talking about the objective, as I told you, that we have to understand and we need to understand that that social study, the basic objective of the social study is to develop a sense of analysis, being analytical, and the conceptual skills, why it is needed, why we should develop this. If you could see this small, I would say yes, we are developing those concepts among the child because we want the child to understand and process the economic and social changes and the development with the modern and also the contemporary India. And also, as I told you, the globalization is also important, so we include the other parts of world also. The second important objective is the critically examination. If you could see here, I've written that it is a responsibility of us to make our child understand the freedom, understand the meaning. If we have the bonded laborer, the small children working, or if we are making our girls to marry at early age, it also is the part of non-freedom. So, understanding the freedom, human values, the respect for diversity, trust, and also a mutual respect is very important when we are critically examining the social and economic issues and challenges. As I told you before also, when we are talking about the freedom, we are talking about the bonded laborers. If we are talking about mutual respect, we always give the respect to the literate people. Are we giving the enough chances to everyone so that everybody having a proper literacy? Are we giving them the dimensions of inequalities? Are we talking about a different kind of dimensions of inequality? The very important third concept is understanding our rights and our respect and also our responsibility. I would like to add up one more word into the rights and responsibility. The third important word I would add up is the accountability. Are we making our children, young generation, not only knowing the rights and responsibilities, but also about accountability? The rights and responsibility of being the citizen in a big democratic and secular society. The India, which is a big democratic and secular society. The third important thing at this level, when we are teaching the social studies to our children, is to understand. To understand the roles and responsibility of the state. स्टेट एज आई टोल्ड यू द स्टेट इज नथिंग कि वो कहीं से उठकर आके कुछ स्टेट के मेंबर बन गए वी आर चूजिंग दो स्टेट पीपल इट इज आवर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टू मेक द स्टेट responsible. So, understanding the role and responsibility of a citizen in democratic and social society, understanding the role and responsibility of a state in fulfilling the constitutional obligations, right to choose, right to choose a good person or a responsible person or a correct person. Understanding the process of change. Understanding the process of change with development in our country, in our secular India, in relation to the world economy. We should be able to define a position of our country in a world economy. And of course, uh, the politics and is also the part of this. Then the next important objective, if we talk about at secondary level, we appreciate the right of the local community, local production, local things in the relationship of their environment. If we are using more jute, are we are the local people where jute is available more, respecting that environment and promoting the environment in a way that it becomes the part of a bigger picture, part of a bigger transition, a bigger change, a bigger world economy. The next is important is the judicious utilization of the resources. Whatever resources are there, are we using it properly as well as it is needed for the conservation of our natural environment also, respecting our own geography, and helping us to have the better world geography. When we are talking about, if you could see, I have given you a big map. It says that we are not just a part of India, but we are also a part of a bigger picture. The primary purpose of a social study is to help young people developing the ability to make the responsible decisions. When we are teaching them the history, they are understanding what happened in history and what happened in the past. If it was responsible for any kind of mistake today, how now they can change. The responsible decision to make changes for a public good as a citizen of a culturally diverse and democratic society in an interdependent world. Why I have chosen this word interdependent, where our science, where our knowledge, where we everything is interdependent. We are having the relationship. If somebody is dependent on me for gehu or rice, I may be dependent on somebody else for the robotic science. So this is really, really important. I just wanted to show you something. Now, when we are talking about the objective, I just quickly show you a small picture. If you could see this picture, this is something, this is, if you could say, that this is the way we can teach our children about the, it's about, it is just showing, it's kind that how we can talk about the nature's goodness, how we can teach. This is a small page I have created, which is talking about the agriculture, why agriculture is important. So small, with a small ways, we are telling our children about certain things. I already have talked about this, uh, which is, I think, it is clear. As I was talking to you, that there is lot of shift from contemporary India to a modern India. When we are talking about, as somebody was writing, the caste system, when we are teaching about our children about the Adivasis or Dalit or other kind of the population, we need to teach our child that why these people are important, and why these are also the equal people, why we should give them the equal chance to study better, and why all, if instead of just talking the SC or ST, how togetherly we can get a good or better world tomorrow. In history, when where we are talking about the contributions of various kind of sections, these all sections are important. It may be the Adivasi, it may be the Dalit, or anything, or any kind of religion. It's we need to show our children that what was the contribution of these various sections, these regions, to the Indian freedom struggle. In our recent history, how these people were there, they people have helped to develop the modern world, wherein the geography we need to taught, or we should be teaching our children, keeping in our mind the need to inculcate in child's critical appreciation, or critical appreciation for what? for conservation, for environmental concerns. Why we need to change? At what level we need to uh, put our more focus on exploitation of these things? We need to make them understand that every time we cannot just spoil the environment. A very, very important branch of social sciences are the political science also, where the majorly our focus should be on discussing the philosophical foundations. Which philosophical foundation? The philosophical foundation that underlies the value framework of our Indian constitution in depth. We need to talk to our children about the equality, about the literacy, about women empowerment, about the justice, about the dowry system, and all everything, fraternity, dignity, and the freedom, and how and what sector is getting exploitation, how we can remove that exploitation to bring the diversity in a respectable way, where we are respecting our diversity, when we are when we are talking about how we can change our system into an acceptable. Here I would like to talk about the different kind of the characteristics and methods and strategies of teaching the social sciences. um, when I was, let me first of all, before I'll talk the method, different kind of method and strategies of teaching social sciences, I would like to draw your attention to the characteristics of the good teaching system. A teacher is very, very important. Largely it is said that sometimes the periods become so boring. The teacher is just teaching, and the children are not able to understand. If I can just show you a small map. I think it's clear. You see that this complete chapter a teacher has introduced in small words. If you could see the nationalism in India, छोटे छोटे बादलों में a few sentences are there which actually lives inside the brain of a child. Very beautifully, a complete system, a complete concept a teacher has tried to give it to the child. So the teacher is really, really important.